us astray.
The consequences of your actions here are irreversible.
You feel you are prepared now for this. Your reckless mission ends now.
Please remain calm. You may notice a slight change in the environment.
Against all the evil that hell can conjure, we will send unto them only you. I offer you a gift. Take. It will give you strength. They will fear you.
What is going on out there to all of you absolute beauties tonight? We are so happy to be joined tonight. So first of all, I am your community manager, lead community on Doom Eternal, Tokyo Punch Out, your boy. But I am joined by the signature above me has a human form. And it is just to screen left of me, which is none other than the game director of Doom Eternal, Hugo Martin. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Really good, really good. This is something that we have talked about, you and I, for a while now to get this going. You want to kind of walk people through like where we're thinking of like what are people going to expect? Because I see there's a lot of people in chat. Some people are staying up. They're coming from all over the world. It might be late, it might be early, but they're right on time. So what are we going to be doing in this stream with this signature series, literally and figuratively, of Hugo Martin's gameplay?
You know, I'd really like to be able to just share with people the design story of Doom, give them an inside look into what it takes to make a video game, the thought behind every decision in this game, a little bit of insight in game development in general. Honestly, for anybody who's an aspiring game developer, a little bit of information there. So, yeah, there's just a great story to tell. I think behind most great games, or really all great games, there is a good design story, and the development cycle of the game needs to be good if you want the final product to be good. And Doom Eternal is a great game because we had a really great time making it. As much fun making it as it is playing it now, the final product. So sharing some of that stuff with you guys. Plus, getting the opportunity to shine a spotlight on some of the incredible work of the guys down at ID and gals. They do amazing stuff, and so I'm really looking forward to it.
Same here. So there's so much activity. A lot of people were pointing out, you just played like 5 trailers. Well, first of all, you're welcome, because there's been a lot of content for this game. Specifically, Switch comes out next week. Set your abacus, set your calendars, hide your wife, hide your kids. 12/8, that is next Tuesday. You can grab Doom Eternal on Nintendo Switch. That is done in partnership with our friends at Panic Button. Huge shout out to them. And of course, all the folks at ID that made this whole thing possible. But wait, there's more, because we just dropped, Hugo, Update 4, which had a brand new master level, Super Gore Nest. And I think that this is especially devious in the best way, because this isn't just a master level. There are new ways to play it. There's classic mode where you have to walk around and pick up every single weapon and every single mod. And I feel like you guys tuned this from having made the DLC, because the Ancient Gods Part 1 is definitely like a higher level of, challenge that people can kind of like strap up their black belt and tighten it even more. And I feel like you guys carried that over into the Super Gore Nest. Like, first of all, Update 4, just like drop it on me real quick. What were you guys thinking, and how did you get so good at level design and throwing all kinds of enemies at us all the time? What's going on over there?
Well, absolutely, it's a master level. So by design, they are meant to be the hardest pieces of content. The biggest challenges, we talk about Doom as a combat puzzle for people to solve. Well, these are the most complex combat puzzles that we have to throw at you. You have to be on your A game. They absolutely reinforce the need to have mastered the fun zone and understand all of its intricate parts. And we'll talk a lot about that tonight for sure.
We definitely will.
We're so happy to be able to give that content to the fans, for free, which is fantastic. It is a chance also internally with our design team and our gameplay designers. They get to try things and do things, like really push the envelope. Certainly for the main campaign, there's a level of balance that we need to achieve as we work our way through the campaign. That's not to say we nerf things. I think Doom Eternal is a really engaging FPS, action FPS, skill-based FPS experience. It does require skill. It is asking you to learn and master something. But we could really, the gloves are off with the master levels, which is so much fun for the whole team. So it's been amazing to see what people do. I mean, they're nuts. I can't believe people are already beating it on Ultra Nightmare. They beat it right away. I mean, people instantly just conquer that. So have you done it yet? I mean, you're so good at the game.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to play it on Ultra Nightmare yet?
Yeah, I've done Ultra Nightmare, and I have not finished my Ultra Nightmare run, but I did finish a Nightmare run on Classic Mode, which was a tall order. But again, remember, everybody out there, if you either haven't mastered the curve or you're just not interested in it, of course, there's all different skill levels you can play this at. And again, I'll point out one last thing. Thank you to all of the incredible community that we have. We're looking at you, Doom Discord, Reddit. We're looking at you, Spicy Demons. We're looking at you, Ronin's Discord, and all the other beauties out there, because there's a lot of things that have come up that we've been like, oh, snap, like never saw this in testing, because in this Update 4 stuff, we never had like crazy sweat lords maybe playing as fast as you did, as hard as you did. So there are some bugs. It's just, this is video games. And we are addressing them by next week? I think we get a hot fix. So just another abacus set, next week. Get ready, because that is coming.
One of the things that the community has helped us with tremendously, and they all know, I mean, most of them are watching right now, and I talk to them all the time. I actually have Discord open right now, and I'm talking to some of them.
Snap.
The
Dangerous.
is that through their videos and the communication that goes on, mostly with yourself, Josh, you do a fantastic job of communicating with them, is we're able to pinpoint exactly what was going on and solve any issues faster. And one of the things that we saw, the reason why we didn't see it internally, was in fact because it was part of what happens when it's a live experience and people saved games and all those different things and memory and whatnot. I don't know anything about that stuff, but I do know that it's not something that we could easily recreate inside the studio. And it was only through you, the fans, and everything that, as Josh said, that you help us with, that within 24 hours, we were able to identify this particular issue that was kind of causing a bunch of other little issues that was only being seen in the live environment. And because of you, we figured it out. So thank you so much.
Video games, baby. Okay, so that is the latest and greatest, but let's get right down to the nuts and bolts of what we're doing today, which is what we're all here for and so excited about. We are about to watch none other than game director Hugo Martin, sitting right on the of me, whatever side that is, play through Hell on Earth Chapter 1. Again, this is a streaming series, so we're going to be doing this, I would say weekly, but there are so many holidays and crazy crap coming up that like we will put a schedule at the end of this stream so you can see when the next one will be. But because the next week is the Game Awards, of which, by the way, huge congratulations to you in the studio. You guys are up for like almost everyone you could possibly be up for, including Game of the Year. And even today, they just announced a new fan-only voting one that we are also in contention for. So congrats to everybody at id for that. But here's what I wanted to just set the table for in a tidy way: is people aren't just here to see this crazy inverted monster that you are playing through as a controller player, but they're really here to see, and you're here to show. Oh, there it is. And I like that too, because we talked about this before. You could have played with your crazy, jacked out, paddled, modded version, but you are playing with that vanilla controller. Tell us why.
Well, I mean, and by PC player standards, it's already vanilla because I'm not mouse and keyboarding it, and I'm pretty good at the mouse and keyboard. But like, I'm not going to go there in front of this crowd. But yeah, I normally play. I like to play with paddles, and I got a sweet, nice aftermarket controller here. And I wanted to say an Xbox Series controller, but that totally sounds like I'm like trying. But I'm not.
No, you're not.
It
is what it is.
I had it before the acquisition.
Oh, busted! This guy's getting stuff early. How's he doing?
But I did want you guys to see me play. It's not going to be this stream is not about an incredible display of skill or anything. There's Mr. Josh. There's Midnight. There's so many people. Draku, Bite Me. I could go on
Zan,
and on.
all the legends. Yeah.
Zan, Spud. Yeah. Who could, under the Mayo, who could put on such a clinic on how to truly push this race car to the limit. But what I'd really like to do is just show you how it is out the box. I'm not going to, put on any paddles or play with any crazy configurations. Let's just play it. And seriously, let's talk about the decisions that went into the game. And let's just, let's learn about how it all happened. It's a good story to tell.
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, we're going to switch over right now. Let me go ahead and make sure. There we go. Audio, everything should be good to go. It should be Gucci, good, great. So, walk us through. This is main menu, looking good. First of all, 3 live tiles, crazy. That must be a new update 4 thing. Doesn't matter. That's in the weeds. We're talking about Hell on Earth. We're going through Chapter 1. Take us through it.
Yeah, well, let's start at the very beginning. I was messing around with some save things here, but I'm actually going to just start over. Start at 0, which everybody knows the beginning of this game is tough, man, especially when you get used to playing at full tilt with dash and flame belch and all those good things.
Yeah.
So, but let's start at the very beginning.
In the beginning.
And we'll start at Hurt Me Plenty just so we could converse with the audience and I can actually concentrate. So the thing about Doom, and kudos to you guys who stream the game and talk while you're doing it, because I don't know how you do it when you do it on Nightmare level. I enjoy playing the game on Nightmare. It's one of my favorite ways to play it. But I don't think I could talk to you guys and do that at the same time.
It's
yeah, it's going to be really hard. So we'll go Hurt Me Plenty for now. And hey, look, Shroud played it on Hurt Me Plenty. So and
I like that shout out. Hey, if he did it, I could do it. Anyone could do it. Yeah, okay.
So, honestly, I used to work at Blur, and one of the things I'm most proud of is the fact that this is all just in-game. It's crazy. Like this full cinematic is entirely in-game, which is just fantastic. And we see that Earth has been taken over. Kind of like, I almost think of this as like our, this is our Evil Dead 2. Like Evil Dead 1 was that, in 2016, it was that surprise film that everybody fell in love with. But the scope of that game was smaller. But here with Evil Dead 2, I think Sam Raimi was able to really execute on a much larger vision. certainly people really loved the first one and they were ready for the second one. And Doom Eternal is kind of like that. I said that throughout development. This is like our Evil Dead 2. This is where Doom becomes we're really able to take so many of the things we started in 2016 and take them to the next level in Eternal.
I love that because, like, when you think about Evil Dead 1, you're like, okay, this is what a bunch of guys get together. They go out into the woods, they make a thing that they put their heart and soul into, and see, if it can fly. And then in 2, they're like, but what if a giant skeleton opened the door and reached his hand through and grabbed Ash? And it's like, that's Eternal, right? I love it.
Totally. Yeah, it is. So you're telling the player a lot of information here, but you're doing it pretty quickly. The scope of the game gets so much larger. I think Doom 2016 kind of has like an indie horror vibe to it, and Doom Eternal I feel like feels like the summer blockbuster version of that concept, which I love.
It's the Terminator 2, you're saying, version? It's the
a little bit. I think that comparison also is accurate. Absolutely.
It's that June-July release window for theaters.
Yeah.
Okay.
And right there, I mean, we're overlapping a shit ton of information with the little sound bites that you hear from the radio and all the different things, and we see him getting ready, and within a few minutes we get a full understanding of what it is he needs to do. A shout out that some of that stuff was very much everybody knows I'm obsessed with movies. A lot of that stuff was inspired by Rambo and all of the great sequences in the Sylvester Stallone movies and so many of the great 80s movies where the hero, the close-up shots of Rambo, like tying the gauze around his hands as he gets ready for stick fighting in some warehouse in Bangkok or something. Well, and we just thought it would be so cool to see kind of like the revving your engines moment. The hero is the race car, and that is him just getting ready. And then you just dive right in. One of the things, I'm going to turn up my sound a little bit, is just so much work done here from a sound design perspective to get it all to work. You're going to hear the Titan that's carrying me. You'll hear his steps every once in a while. And throughout the game, big shout out to Chad Mossholder, his entire team. Mick Gordon, absolutely, for his incredible soundtrack. Coordinating all those things together is on the sound designers, and it's really not easy to do because it's a rock concert. We all know that it's a music video, but they have to layer so many different sounds. Each sound has a priority. Those priorities change at any given time. This is tough stuff. I mean, it can be a challenging job, and I think they did a tremendous job. And that's a perfect example right there. When I'm inside this giant barge being carried by this Titan, the steps cut through just a little bit, not just a little bit, quite a bit, as I walk through here.
It's true too, and like Destructible Demon, such a new idea. Dash, new idea. Blood Punch, new idea. All brand new Evil Dead versions. The blockbuster summer version of it in Eternal. And Chad and the team made those sounds not only completely unique, but they pop perfectly. They cut through the mix, they cut through the sound, they cut through the music. It's incredible.
It is incredible. Tutorials, really, I always say it is not... the fun of the game is not figuring out what to do. It's mastering how to do it well. That's it. So when we have something to tell you in Doom, we tell you real fast. I use a lot of car analogies. I use a lot of analogies in general, probably too many. But in Doom, you are in a race car. You're zipping around quite literally very fast. If you have something to tell me while you're going 200 miles an hour, you better say it loud and fast, a big sign. So that's why our tutorials are very like, bam, let's go here, let's learn this, let's go. And get you off back to the experience. Even there's just so much to tell. So every inch of game development is fun, but it's also it's a very detail oriented profession. So even just the text that goes into these tutorials is something Alex Whitfield, who works with us at it, he's a great young designer, and working with Peter Sokol, the game design lead. We just changed the title of that department.
Maestro.
Working hard to use just enough information. Like the people can only kind of retain so much information. So you've got to make sure that you say what you got to say in as efficient way as possible. A lot of times it's something that's often overlooked, but I will reference IKEA instructions, to the team as just the pinnacle of just raw efficiency. I mean, anybody can open up IKEA instructions and understand what to do. Now, whether or not you actually want to go through that experience is another thing. But like, I know how to build the stuff. Usually, it just sits there for way too long because I don't feel like doing it. But
That's another thing, though.
and that's such a part of video game development. I mean, you create this loop, you work hard to create an experience, a skill that the player has to learn, and then it's critical in how you communicate what it is they need to do to the player in a way that's balanced and efficient, that's doled out at the right time. You say it with not too many words. It's really, really, the work is extremely engaging as a result. It's kind of, if Doom Eternal is a combat puzzle that we hope is worth your time to solve, the development cycle was a development puzzle that was definitely worth our time to solve. It's something that you just kind of become, obsessed with, to be honest.
And I think you can tell that in there are so many things going on that are incredible in Eternal, and I feel like we've seen this, echoed through the community of people shouting out, people are like, the performance is insane. So all the programmers, the engine, the fact it runs on Vulkan, the fact that it runs at the highest FPS possible of almost any FPS, that's one thing. That's just one side of it, right? So that's that puzzle. You've got the art, not just the set pieces and the art design and the level design, which is also brand new and crazy and vertical and Eternal, but the animations and this is another thing. I know you've talked about this before, but talk about every single enemy that you're coming up against, all these demons, they have such unique characters and personalities, and because you get those up close moments of glory kills, chainsaws, you really get to see you have that exchange. It's almost like this personal relationship. Walk us through that, because you guys started it in 2016 with glory kills, right?
Yeah, I think that as a game, when you buy an id game or a Doom game made by id, it is that attention to detail. There's a handcrafted quality to it. I got to really conserve the number of car analogies that I'm going to use because we just started it. I'm already up to
you
three.
should just rev it up to 100.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I say to the team all the time, I mean, it's like Ferrari. I want to handcraft it. Someone is stitching the leather by hand, and that person is a master craftsman, and that is what we have at id. I mean, the performance, the attention to detail in every aspect of the world is everywhere. I mean, if you take the time to look at things, the amount of geo that is modeled into things, and just all of the little details is just really something to marvel at. And then on top of that, the performance. The tech team, they take great pride in the idea that Doom Eternal would be a game that gets used as the benchmark for new graphics cards and new systems and new monitors and different things. Let's see how it runs Doom. That's often said, and that's something they take great pride in. So that's honestly, I think we attract that kind of developer, somebody who wants to pour themselves into the details of the experience. Because with the single player, the reason why we're allowed to do that, and that's not to say that all studios don't obviously have their strengths, of course they do, but because we create a single player experience that is relatively linear. I mean, we're taking you from A to B, right? We're able to really control what it is you see when you see it and when you experience things, and that's very different than an open world, where you could make your own choices, which in and of itself is an amazing thing. But
Sure.
I think that it's our job as developers to really take advantage of what it is that we can do that other games can't, and part of that is us being able to pour in a level of detail into everything you experience that if the game was larger, it would be harder to do.
Yeah, completely. And by the way, everybody in chat, this is live. We hear you and we see you on Twitch, on Steam, on YouTube. We will be pulling questions, but when there's some, when there's some downtime, when it's the right time, the questions will come out. Speaking of which, Alcatraz56 asks, and this is a tough question. This is a loaded question, so answer it any way you want here, Hugo. He said, what was the hardest part, he or she, what is the hardest part of development when it came to Doom Eternal? It's a big question. What's the hardest part?
Committing. What was the hardest part?
That mech right there, making that mech. Look at it.
Well, I struggle because there's been so many hard parts, and it really comes in phases. That's the real answer. There's like, what was the hardest part of pre-pro? What was because right now in post-launch, you know, that's the latest hardest part, is doing games in a work-from-home environment during a pandemic. You know, like that has been challenging.
For sure.
Getting the game to run as well as we wanted to on all of the different platforms, you know, like as we need to prep the game to be ready to work at any given time on platforms that have a very different architecture. That is definitely a challenge. Early on in development, let's just start there at a super high level.
Okay.
It's just committing to the idea that you can, sticking to your guns and saying you can make a skill-based FPS. I don't like the idea that, well, is it too hard? Like, that kind of frustrates me, because anything, and the idea that like we can be comfortable with frustrating players at times, so long as we have something to teach you. That's not an easy thing to talk about in a development studio, because you want, you know,
it's
people
risky,
are giving
right?
you, they're giving you money. I mean, they're like, here's $60. Hey, I'm pissed. You know, and you're like, well, that's what you paid us for, you know. But and now look, there's good frustration and there's bad frustration, absolutely. And bad frustration is when I feel like the game is screwing me for whatever reason, and I died or I lost or I didn't succeed for something that was outside of my control. That is not okay. But good frustration, but it's still frustration, is when I know what I did wrong, I know what I have to do better, I'm just not skilled enough to execute on it yet. Give me a few more hours, you know, days, months, weeks, and I'll be, you know, like you guys. I mean, that's what I see. You know, I watch. You guys have earned your black belts. I mean, everybody starts Doom. I'm a white belt right now. I don't have nothing. I have hit the dash button maybe 45 times in the last 5 minutes because I don't have it enough.
You forgot the feeling of not having earned all that stuff yet, because you're at the very beginning, right?
So it's the idea that, like, you know, these are frustration bumpers. You know, like if you're not chainsawing, if you're not taking out weak points, if you're not doing things that
flame belts, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the elements that make up the fun zone, as we've talked about. And I didn't want to do that. And then
wow, all 3 pips right into the Alcatraz. Why not?
That was a choice I didn't mean to make. So and if you do those things, then you will be successful. And if you don't do those things, we will kill you. We will kill you fast. And I tell the team, like, even during that period of like, hey, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah. It's like, you know, I want the AI to come out and murder you in miserable ways, fast. You know. Because you got to think about it. Look, I have kids. Like, you could be suggestive, right? You know, with your recommendations. Like, hey, it'd be really great if you stopped making your little brother scream his head off, or I could, you know, be stern. Yeah. And that's such a good way to put it. I'm stern. You know, let's be honest. Or I could scream.
You could be like, and you could just show them that they're like, you know what?
Yeah.
If you do this, you know, proverbially you fall off the cliff. It's not something you want to do. So how do you like?
That's it.
Otherwise, because if you're just like, hey, here's a suggestion, it's like, I don't have to do that. I don't have to switch mods. I don't have to flame belch. I don't have to do any of that crap, right?
That's it. So we're very firm with the player, and we know that it's like that's what's good for them. You know, like that's and we just cut to the chase. Oh, I'm supposed to chainsaw? Cool. Like, don't make it a nice to have. Like, hey, you know, it'd be good if you chainsawed, but you don't have to. Like, no. Like, if you don't chainsaw, your guns won't work, and then you'll die. You know?
Oh, it's good.
So, by the way, Luis Perez and all of the artists, Nick Dunbeck, who doesn't work at it anymore, but he's an incredible artist. He went off to go to another studio, and we've had so many just killer artists come through our doors and make just incredible contributions to the studio, and all of the guys. The amount of time that was spent making this automap stuff, it was not easy. It was funny. I think it was Luis Perez who actually recommended that we do this. That's the funniest part, is that we didn't intend to make the auto map look this good and this detailed. And then I think it was him, I might be getting the story wrong, where he said, hey, look at this, we should do this. And then it was sort of like, this is awesome, but you're signing up for this. Like, we don't have to do this, but once you start, you got to go all the way. And of course, you know, he's an id dev. Like, of course he wants to go all the way. So, yeah, he did. And the auto map is awesome. So, yeah, it's essentially being comfortable. The answer that's taking 15 minutes to finish is that it's being comfortable with frustrating the player, but betting on the idea that I'm funneling you into playing in a certain way at a high level, that if you play that way, you will think that the game is fun.
Right.
And if I'm not firm, then you might not do what we need you to do.
Yeah.
And you'll walk away frustrated. I'm okay. I don't like it, but I'm okay with people not liking the game but knowing how to play it. That's okay. What's not okay, what's infuriating as a developer, is when people don't like something and then you look at the way they're playing and you're like, you're not playing at all the right way, you know?
Right.
And I think we all experience that as fans. How many times have we had a game that we love, and you're talking to your friend and you get 5 people together and ask them about a game, you are going to get a variety of different opinions.
For sure.
You know? But it's because some people are playing it quote unquote the right way and they're doing the right thing, and other people aren't at all, you know? And so we really try to do our best to make that so that's not going to happen, you know?
That makes sense. Because it's like, of course, everybody plays whatever way they want to play. They play however they're comfortable, whether it's like, you know, obviously everybody comes in with like other games as references, whether it's Doom 2016 or other FPS. So they kind of have like their flow. They think they know what they like, what they're good at. But that is the beauty, like you're saying, is like you guys took a risk in making Eternal with making a completely different way to play the game. Like in 2016, you know, there was just like, you know, basically it's like every enemy is like an ammo, you know, funnel, a factory. Like every time you glory kill, you don't have to chainsaw. You could just super shotgun your way through the game. And, you know, to some people that's like GG's victory. That's fun because the super shotgun, as we all know, is the greatest weapon of all time, and it comes from Doom and it stays in Doom. However, it's like the risk that you guys took in, like you said, like you made the loops so different. So you created this way that you can play it a lot of different ways, and you can have more and less success, but there is this optimal way to play, which didn't really exist in 2016. Didn't really exist in any Doom game that had ever been made. But when you start downloading it by, like you said, dying, by learning these lessons of like, okay, I'm reading the tutorials, I'm figuring out the way to do it. And of course, now that we're in 2020, I watched other people do it that are incredible at it, and I sort of took some notes from that of like, okay, they're doing it this way, they're using quick switch, they're using these things. It's like there is this optimal way that like you can play any way you want to play. However, there is this curve and there is this ceiling, and the fact that there is like a ladder that you can climb as opposed to just like this total power fantasy where there's like no real challenge. Like you said, it's like it makes the best thing in a game can do, in a lot of people's opinion, and I'm just gonna say mine personally, is like allow you to master it in a way that is like an actual fun challenge that, again, like you said, it's like if I just loaded up Ancient Gods Part 1 and I beat it in one sitting and I never thought about anything I was doing, I'd be like, cool, that was fun, it looked good, it was whatever, and I'd be done with it, it'd be over. But the way that there are so many things going on in this game that are like fun to juggle and to master, it's what keeps everybody coming back. And this is the only game, I think a lot of people have reached out and said that like they play it like it's a multiplayer game, in the sense that like they could be challenged by AI the same way they can usually by like human players that are just incredibly good and have different ways to play. Like you can kind of get a lot of that in a single player FPS, which of course has battle mode where everybody goes to really like show off the PvP part, but it has that built into the way that you guys made the loop, the way you guys made the AI, and the scaling difficulty, and it's incredible. Speaking of which, sort of a softball question, sort of not, because I know it's like picking your children. Question from Big Imp. This is coming from YouTube. Who's your favorite demon? Go. Don't even think about it. Just give me the first thing off your top of your head.
The Hell Knight.
Nice.
Yeah, he's not like, I would say characters like the Carcass are like, as a developer, demons I love the most because of how they push the player to, again, like funneling them into switching weapons and being really conscious of the thing. Doom is a thinking person's, action game. We want you to think. And all of this is about engagement. That's it. It's not about anything other than that. Like at the end of the day, what I like about Doom is you can't sleepwalk through it. You know,
Yeah.
like even if you played it a million times, you still have to pay attention.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think that's why we see, because there is such a prescribed way to play at a high level, and we're pretty firm about it,
Yeah.
is that we see this time around compared to 2016 way more quote unquote expert players of Doom out there than we did on 2016. On 2016 we saw a lot of people, you know, kind of like you said, playing in a way that was amazing, but you didn't have to, so there wasn't many people
Right.
playing that way. I mean, I think a lot of people's footage was them just running around with one gun.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I mean, I'm not dissing that. I think
Sure.
that type of game is great.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like,
But you made that
and I
one
wor-
already, right?
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
we can't make the same game twice. People
Right.
should get ready, because id Software will not make the same game twice. That is not good. Like we need to innovate constantly, always push the envelope. The spirit of an id game, I believe, is in aggression. I think when I buy an id game, doesn't mean that we couldn't make a game that didn't have didn't require something else of the player. But for
Yeah.
now, since the beginning in the Carmack days of Romero and Carmack and all of those great guys, it was always about, you know, aggression is the solution to my problems. And that
Right.
doesn't mean it's a stupid game,
Yeah.
but, you know, I am moving through the world, and I am the scariest thing in the level, and that's a good id game. But I think that, yeah, we're able to see that we have a lot of players playing now in the quote unquote really awesome way than we did before. Man, I keep missing these friggin' things.
The weak points. Yeah.
oh God,
Here's a question for you. So
Wait,
shout out.
I actually wanted to
no,
get
go
back
ahead.
to that guy's.
Yeah,
what
please.
was that guy's question again? Because I did want to finish it.
It just started with what's your favorite demon, I think.
Oh yeah, so the
Hell Knight.
The Hell Knight, because and this is something that I think is pretty subtle about combat and AI design, is that and this is a credit to the great animation team. That character is actually a legacy character going all the way back to what we refer to as Doom 4 Classic, which was the older version of Doom that got canceled.
Yeah.
And that character and the Imp were already in development. So those are legacy characters that have a lot of animation and a lot of different polish. A lot of polish has gone into the Imp and the Hell Knight. So he has a really nice intos and out of his attacks. There's sort of a wind up. You want your characters, your AI, to sort of have like a wind up to their pitches before that fastball comes out. So if I watch the Imp here, wait, hold on. All right, you need to die.
Right in the eye.
So if I watch the Imp, watch his fastball. He'll wind up. Ready? Come on, dude. Don't be annoying. Stop chasing me. So by the way, right here, what he's doing, look what he's doing, and look what it makes me do. It makes me move.
He's pushing you
You
around.
know, like yeah, he pushes me around. That's the goal of our AI. But anyway, he has a wind up where he cooks his fastball, and he'll shoot it at me, and it's a tell for his attack. Now, that character, given how powerful the players become in this, I don't think you care about his fastball as much as you did in Doom 2016. But
Sure.
but it's a good guiding principle for AI design, is that you have to have the into, the tell, the wind up to the pitch. That is the players. That is the fun zone of combat with an AI. Is, think about it. If somebody's doing a really slow wind up to a pitch, it just instinctively, people want to wait until the last minute to bap him in the head, right? You don't want to. If I had to pick a moment, it's just kind of like in us, like
It's instinctual,
I'm winding up the pitch, like you could feel it, like I'm gonna hit you right at the last minute.
Yeah.
And so you really telegraph those into poses, and the players constantly, seizing opportunities to stop a player, an AI, from launching an attack. And the Hell Knight is fantastic in that way, because he has a really good into to his attacks, and you really feel like you're boxing him. I mean, you're kind of, especially when you get the dash, you can really kind of like time his attacks, dash away, and it's something that, like, the more time you spend with that character, the more fun it is to fight them, because after a while, and we all do this, where you'll kind of even wait till the last minute of the Hell Knight, and then you'll just kind of sidestep it, shotgun to the ribs, like he's just, and that is a result of incredible animation polish. Oh man, and the intos being so well executed on. And it's something that, like in DLC 1 and Eternal and DLC 2 is something we continue to focus on. Look at the giant mechs in this world. It's almost as if
Talk
the
to us
director
about
cannot.
these-
He's obsessed with
These
mechs.
Atlans. First
That's
of all,
right.
you made a thing called an Atlan. What's an Atlan? Look
An
at that
Atlan
thing.
is a Sentinel mech. This is the humor of the game. So, you know, it's like a soup, and there's ingredients, and you know, some of the ingredients, most of the ingredient is action, of course.
Okay.
If it's chicken soup, action is the chicken. There's a lot of it.
But we're making gumbo, aren't we? What's in the gumbo? Tell me more.
That's right. I don't know what's in gumbo, but you want to pepper in the levity, the humor. You know, that's what she is. She says at the end, if you pay attention, she says Lemmy is God, and she says all these crazy things. So like, there's just that opportunity for us to just pepper in just a little bit of humor there with that character. It's interesting going back to the desire to innovate.
Yeah.
Always, it's just so important because, look, artistically, as much as we want our favorite musicians, our favorite movies, and sequels to our favorite movies to give us that same feeling that the original had, we all know that we don't like it and don't want it to just do the same thing again.
We already had that thing. Right?
So exactly. Yeah. So it is. That's why I honestly feel that the original Star Wars is one of the all-time great trilogies, because each one is so different. Right. You know, even as good as Empire is, and of course we all think Empire is the best, but like, do we really want? Did we really want all three of them to be like that? I don't think so. You know, like, I think Star Wars has its own, you know, kind of somewhat goofy vibe to it. It's only goofy because it's low budget a little bit, but not goofy. What's the word? It's almost like a play.
Yeah. I mean,
so,
it's like space, you know, space opera.
A little bit of space opera, yeah. And then Empire's kind of the realist one. It's the most mature. It's almost PG-13. Yeah. And then Return of the Jedi is kind of that summer blockbuster family adventure film. You know, that they end it with, and they're all different. So, as much as people loved Doom 2016, you know, we can't just remake Doom 2016. You know, like, tonally we need to go somewhere. Video game, you know, mechanics wise, we need to go somewhere. And we'll do the same. We'll just continue, no matter what we do. We'll always look to evolve and do something different. Because if you give them the same thing they did before, it's boring. Yeah. I mean, think about this. I love Horizon Zero Dawn. I love that game.
It's really good.
I stopped playing, like, and I played the shit out of that game.
Yeah.
I stopped playing that game for a reason, because I played it so much and I was good. You know, like, so as I would really, you know, prefer if Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is, you know, in the same universe and made by the same incredible team, but I'm not asking for the same game again.
Right.
You know, like,
you want to double down, right?
Yeah, or wherever they go.
Right.
I'm ready to go with them, just so long as it's engaging, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, you make the music analogy. I think that's like a perfect one, right? Because, you know, you pick any band, whether it's like Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, Depeche Mode, doesn't matter who. It's the fact that nobody actually wants the same album and the same songs. And then, you know, they always get that flack when they go a completely different direction, right? They plug in the electric guitar. They take these turns, Simon and Garfunkel, all these things. Everyone's done it. But it's like, the true fans know that exactly like what you're saying. It's like, that game or that song or that album that they love, it's not going anywhere. It's forever. It's eternal, pun intended. Like, but
exactly.
That's why, like, you guys went so ham though in the way that, like, you doubled down on so many things, even like the color palette. Can we talk about that for a second? Because everybody knows, you know, the meme has even gone around recently about, is this lasagna or is this Doom? Because of the 2016, like, there's so many red and orange and yellow, like, landscapes and just color palettes and fog and all that stuff. But this game goes full arcadey in some of the best ways. Talk to us about, like, the choices there for not only, like, extra lives, but, like, all of the colors that just pop now. The health, the armor, all of it. Yeah. It's, like, super, super bright and vibrant, I feel like, now.
Well, as you see here, it's all in the effort to communicate to the player again, it's a high-speed action game, so if you have something to tell me when I'm driving really fast, you better tell me loud and clear. So the idea is that that is that intense because I need to see that shit. That too, right? You see how that calls to me?
Yeah.
Like at any given time, it's the acquisition. Like I can make decisions, and when the game gets really intense, what it's asking me to do is make decisions really fast. That's literally, if I break it down, that's the engagement loop. And so I am able to make 3 decisions really fast, and I know right away: health pack, extra life, hidden extra life,
Yeah.
and jump pad. So I can do what it is I need to do because I can see these things immediately, and that's what it's all about. It's gameplay first, and then we take that you know, that was in the original Doom. I mean, look at how those shotgun shells stand out, and that was just like it was in the original game. By the way, that kind of looks like a Commander Keen helmet. That's hilarious. So
Hot cups.
yeah. So it's all about just communicating to the player the information. Everything in Doom has a purpose. There's very little and that purpose. The reason why the gameplay loop of Doom Eternal is so satisfying, and the more time you invest in it, the more fun it is because we dedicate everything to it. If anybody's ever read the book Good to Great, which is a really good book for anybody, really, not just companies. But the general principle is don't do more, do better. You know, like the jack of all trades or the master of one. You want to be the master of one, and so that's what Doom is. Doom is a game about combat, and we invest. We bend everything in the game to serving that need, that goal, and so the colors are just born out of the need to be able to tell people things very clearly, and that is consistent with what was in the original Doom. Like,
Right. That's true.
I think and also, to be honest, also to just celebrate the idea that it is just a video game. You know, like we want to. There's a. I think I incorrectly said I don't care about immersion once in a marketing PR call, because immersion to me just means consistency. Like immersion is like, how consistent are you with your visuals, your tone? And I think, and if you're consistent, then I'm immersed in your world. And you kind of break immersion when you're inconsistent.
Right.
So I think we're incredibly consistent. You know, with the like, I mean, everything about everything about Doom is loud. Jesus Christ. The music is loud. The action is loud. Everything is loud. So I think tonally it's a very confident and consistent game.
Yeah, and no, you make a really good point too, because going back to the car analogies, which we will do ad nauseum for the rest of humanity, which is I'm fine with, because I know if I have you here as the driver that we're going to be good to go and we're going to get where we need to be. But I feel like it's one of those things too where you're talking about when you guys made the visual language, right? And you're in this Ferrari going, this F-15 billion, Ferrari going a million miles an hour. You have to speak that visual language that like checks out with that speed. So you can't just have a chevron alignment marker that has the yellow and the black and the arrows. It has to be like 10 feet wide, or the colors have to pop that much. And you guys did such a wild job, and it's so different than you guys did in 2016. So like, let's talk about that lore. What's that right there? What's that? What's going on there?
Well, number one, it's a good example of why we have to be loud. But yeah, there's layered into Doom. The Doom universe, everything has a history to it. And I could ignore it all, of course, but
you would not. You would never do that.
Building a good universe is about giving that universe a real history, and a history that you care about. Like that you as the I would say to any aspiring young creative, nobody's gonna give a shit about your stuff nearly as much as you do. You could almost say they'll care about it about as half as much as you do. So you better care about it a lot.
You got to go 300% then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we this is a real place to us. I mean, we eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff, and so the lore will provide a deeper context for the things you're experiencing, and wrapped in there is pretty cool. A pretty cool universe that's unfolding for us, and really ultimately just gives us cool places to go, cool monsters to fight, and in environments and events that will happen that are just really interesting. I mean, I think you get to see where we're going with DLC 1 and stuff, and none of that would be possible if we didn't take the time back in 2016 to start building this universe. I like to think of it as like an R-rated Star Wars game. In a sense, that's like if somebody made an R-rated Star Wars movie, I would think that was awesome.
I love that. Speaking of which, so shout out for this level in particular, and this is a shout out to our boy, none other than Jimmy Bacon, a legend in his own right, and one of our Discord official Discord.
Jimmy Bacon is
Discord
awesome.
mods.
I know that guy.
Exactly. He wanted to know if there was any stories about this level in particular, the one we just completed now. So Hell on Earth. You know, I know that you guys do a lot of mixing and remixing as far as like order and everything else, but talk to us about, were there any crazy stories that came out of, again, all of 2016 nearly takes place on, you know, UAC, on Mars, Phobos, and all that, a little bit in Hell, obviously Necrovol, but you guys took it right back down to the planet that we are on, to Earth. There is Hell there. Walk us through, like, were there any crazy stories that came out of making that level in particular you can think of?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of the tools, so it's really hard to make the first level of a skill-based action game because the player's starting with like the pistol, you know, in this case just a shotgun. So that stuff is fairly challenging. You know, I wish that we made the text slightly less opaque. Like if I had to do it over again, the opacity of that should be lowered by about 50%. So throughout this process, what I have to fight is not constantly
doing that,
talking about every single thing that I think is wrong with this. But it's a sickness. But
that's any creation, right? Like you're always like, if I just, now that I look at it and I'm like 2 days older than when I made that other decision, I kind of feel like this could be a little better or different.
Yes, it's honestly, it's why you keep making things, because we haven't made our best Doom game. We never will. You know, like, oh, I think I was supposed to punch them.
I think you're doing flame belch.
Oh, I'm flame belching people. Okay.
You did it though at the end. It popped.
Yes. So the story behind that opening level is it's just very challenging because you don't have a lot of the player's tools.
Yeah.
But it was also an opportunity for us to really learn how to make levels that, you know, again, it's a single player FPS campaign. It is a linear game by design, even though the levels can be mazy, some levels more so than others. Like the Blood Swamps is incredibly mazy, but like it's still a linear path.
Right.
It just winds on itself once in a while. But to help create the illusion that you're part of this much larger world, I think we elevated our game with skyboxes quite a bit in Doom Eternal, and that ain't nothing. I mean, you guys saw what we're doing in DLC 1. Wait till you see what we're doing in DLC 2. It's crazy.
And God's Part 2 going to get wild, going to go buck?
It's
no spoilers, but go ahead and spoil. No spoilers.
It's the best. It's some of the best content we've ever made. That's for sure. Yeah, it's crazy. It's we just showed it to our marketing lead, you know, Derek, and he was, I mean, his jaw was on the floor. So yeah, so really emphasizing the skybox, and then crafting the experience from beginning to end, like, and you know, and then this happens here, and this is when you get that tutorial, and maybe we should push it back, and you know, really through constant iteration. And a big shout out to our UR team. Our user research, well, they're not our team, they're part of Bethesda's. They work with all the teams, but it is a group that I have personally, along with Marty, developed a very close relationship with. We utilize that group a lot because the consumer's never wrong. I'm sitting here, I'm going to babble for the next 10 weeks about all kinds of designs theory shit. None of that matters if you don't like it. That's it. The whole point of all of it is for you to sit there and say, I like it. That is my favorite part of being a commercial artist. I mean, I am a commercial artist. A commercial artist, fine artist, commercial artist makes art with others, for others. That's all I want to do. Fine artists for themselves, by themselves, and that's great too. But like, when you make art for others, there's an immediate response from the consumer, and that is the drug of this profession. Because I love it when I even like it when they don't like it. I mean, because you're always learning. I mean, if they love it, they tell you why. If they hate it, they tell you why. You're just learning things, you know, all the time, and it's unfiltered. That's my favorite part. Like, I can't stand art when I don't like something and someone has to, well, you don't know about this thing and that thing. I mean, it was the game's job to teach me the things it needed to teach me, but sometimes, like go to a museum and you're like, I don't know, it just kind of looks like somebody threw paint at the canvas. Well, you gotta read the little card on the side.
And you're like, no, it still looks like that, right?
Exactly. So
I read it. It looks like
one of my
somebody threw paint on it.
one of my favorite things about entertainment design and product design and automotive design, that's why I use so many car analogies, because I went to art center and that's where my background is. But the
Shout out to Art Center.
the consumer is never wrong. They're in charge, and I would have it no other way. All right, loot. What? Oh my God, I haven't made these choices in so long. What should we start with? Let's be honest, loot magnet, right? I mean, that is the one.
That's the jam.
We need that.
Because that's like when you're doing the dance, you don't have to focus on things as much because you got a little bit of that pull to get everything, all the resources you need in faster. So
you need it. You need it.
You want that full upgrade. So you're gonna go those two first. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. By the way, you are in the fortress right now. What the hell is the Doom Fortress? How did this happen? This is not a Doom 2016 thing. This is a new world eternal hub thing. So what is the idea behind the Doom Fortress?
So this is part of the Sentinel fleet that long ago, I just thought it was really cool that instead of Star Destroyers, like their command ships would be giant floating castles. I mean, there's a sci-fi fantasy aspect to all of Doom kind of covers all aspects of entertainment sort of genres, because we have the fantasy side with the Sentinels in Argent D'Nor and where the Slayer spent some time, and now the people who played through the game, what happened.
Yeah.
And then we have the normal Earth side, but all of it's in the future, so we kind of have future military tech with UAC. We even get some more grounded stuff when we play in levels like Super Gore, some more natural environments, and we'll even explore that stuff even further in DLC 2. And so in the fantasy world of Argent D'Nor, which is another dimension, they would instead of having like giant battleships or Star Destroyers, I just thought it'd be cool if their command ships were like giant castles, and there were many of these. This is just one of them. And a lot of the stuff that you see in Doom 2016 speaks to things that were once the Slayers long ago. Like he might have been a trooper on this. Well, he was never just. Well, that's not true. He was just a trooper at one time.
Yeah.
But so he might have used this ship. Like this ship is his. Like he had or the king's ship that he took or was gifted to him. But regardless, he's familiar with the ship. And so when we come here, we get an inside peek without saying anything into the world that he comes from.
I love it. And again, like you built this Fortress of Doom, which now I love it because you also made this return system, right? So there are again, for people who want to go find all the secrets, want to go get the most powered up Slayer Praetor armor suit going possible. You have these things you can find throughout the maps now, like the Praetor tokens. You've got and the coolest thing about a lot of these things are, especially all the energy you can find, you bring it back to the ship and then you get some agency still, right? You get to make these choices of how you want to build the mech, how you want to build the car, how you want to build the Slayer. And that is it's such a cool, nice thing. Also because, like you said, the game is pushing you around, kicking your ass, teaching you lessons, taking no names but your own, so that when you come back, you have a little bit of pause. You can kind of oh, it'd be nice if I had, like you said, the loot magnet would be nice. So I'm going to now that it's calm, I can just sit here, look at Earth. Okay, it's a little bit on fire, but I'm going to get back to that. And then you get to make these decisions where you get to basically make the Slayer even more badass, but you get to do it in a calmer environment. It's kind of chill. It's kind of nice. It's kind of different. That's really cool. I think a lot of people said that.
Changes the pace, and in particular, if we're not tough on the player. Now, granted, I'm playing on Hurt Me Plenty, so I'm not really getting pushed too hard. Yeah. But
before you go through that thing, by the way, that's next week. We're not even going through it this week. So stay on the Fortress. And by next week, I mean whenever the next time we do this is, which the schedule's all out there. But go ahead, what were you gonna say?
Oh, that's right. Here, can I? I'm gonna then. Well, I'll stay in here.
I'll switch this to two shot. We're going back to just, unless you want to do game talk and talk about anything we're seeing here, I can switch this back.
Well, we could do this a little bit. Maybe we'll switch back in a second. But yeah, and that's the change of pace. And in particular, if we don't kick your ass in the level or push you, and say, look, you have to learn this, or you have to improve your player, then you won't care about progression. So, and the only way to push me to get me to care about progression is at some point I experience frustration. God damn it, I wish I had a little bit more ammo. Oh, it's funny you should ask. Like
Yeah.
here's
Here's a tool
an
for
ammo,
that.
here's an ammo upgrade. Like
Right.
you want the player asking for something, and then you're there waiting with that thing in the game for them, like right after they ask for it or right when they're about to ask for it. I think
Yeah.
that's key, because nobody's going to invest in something that they don't feel like they need.
Sure.
By design, I think if human beings like to, I talked about like you want to hit the guy right at the peak of his pitch. You don't want to hit it early.
Yeah.
You don't want to hit it in the middle. You want to wait till the last minute and then smack him.
Yeah.
And that being kind of the cornerstone of good AI design and tells and animations and how that all syncs with combat.
Yeah.
I think that human beings are generally lazy. I mean, look, if I could play this whole game with the base shotgun, I will.
Right.
That's
Right.
it. I'm just going to keep doing it. And it's corralling the player again. It's saying like, nope, you don't have enough ammo. Progression, if you invest in progression in the game, you will find it a more fulfilling experience, going through the level, picking up the coins, finding the secrets. All of this is part of the fun zone.
Yeah.
And we funnel you in there by getting you to say, God damn it, I wish I had more ammo.
Right.
Cool. We have
Yeah.
a way to give you more. And the ship is where you get to do it. Little quiet time, unlock some of your rock posters and collect some of your toys.
Yeah.
And yeah,
You see them on the
it's,
shelf. You got a cave down there that you got your PC set up. You got your retro set up.
You
It's
do.
wild,
You,
dude.
you got all that stuff.
We
It's
don't have
fun.
access to it yet because that's after Exaltia, right? But still, you get the tease and the taste of the fact that you are in, like a Laputo, you're in a castle in the sky, like
Yes.
a floating ship. And I love it too because it just brings more questions for the people that want those answers and that are curious, right? Like you see the statues around the walls, you see the design, you can tell that there's like a crazy history here, but yet it's like that future retro stuff. So it's like that is the best place you want to be in a game, right? Where you're like everything's beautiful, and I could just start zooming in because you have the precision scope into every little nook and cranny because there's all kinds of crazy tells and things that are like pointing to history and to lore. But again, you could also just be like, that's nice, get me to the next level, I'm out of this, you know what I mean? So
Engagement. I mean,
Yeah.
basically everything has a story to it, and even the world building itself should be just as engaging, as the gameplay. Like there's no aspect of the world of Doom that hasn't been thought through and poured over a gabajillion times, and that's to make sure that every direction you look while playing Eternal for the first time, there's something drawing you in, that the game has layers and layers and layers. And it's why we see it with the numbers. The replay value on Doom is super high. I mean,
Yeah.
the number of monthly active users in Doom is crazy for a single player game because there's just so much to see and learn and uncover. And in particular, at its core, it being a skill-based shooter, I've already in one level learned a handful of things. And to answer Jimmy Bacon's original question, that was the hardest thing. How much is enough?
Yeah.
How much is too little? Because we have a lot to teach you.
Yeah.
And yes, the game kind of takes flight in the middle once you get to like Super Gore and S Mars Core are complex. Like I forget which level comes first.
Because then you have
there,
like
but,
the ballista, you have the super shotgun, you have the
once
meat
you
hook.
get-
Yeah.
once you get the ballista, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
And so we've got to get you there as fast as we can, but not too fast so you feel overwhelmed, so you have a time to soak the stuff in. So that was the hardest part of the first level, is teaching things. But each of those things is like it's like in the case of my controller, but whether your mouse and keyboard, it's like teaching you like a note. This is your instrument, or your keyboard is your instrument. I don't want to hold it up, but the
But everyone's playing violin at first and just hitting those notes, and you're like, oh Jesus, what
we're,
does that
we're
sound?
teaching you. Flame belch is a note, and
Yeah.
and chainsaws, an action, and this other thing is an action, and weak points are an action, and glory kills, and in the beginning you're just kind of like trying to figure it out, and eventually you'll be making decisions in a split second, and that is the secret sauce of why Doom Eternal is so addictive. When you get good at it, you can't stop playing it, because essentially we turned this into an instrument. We taught you how to play it in ways you didn't think you could. Like in the beginning, you're fumbling your way through the chords. By the end, you're in Urdak in the DLC. Come on, it's an Eddie Van Halen solo. I mean, you're just like it becomes
In the
very
whole-
much like you're just like, stand back and watch this. Hold my beer. Like as I lay waste to and our best players, Dustin Shepard, Bite Me. I mean, we have so many. the stuff that they do. Midnight. I mean, it's Mayo. It's crazy. I mean, I can go on and on. There are so many great Doom
Yeah.
players, but
Rhythmia, all these guys, yeah.
it's crazy. Like I mean, yourself. Like you watch the things that they do. It is. I'm watching just a master at work, and they learned how to play the shit out of their keyboard.
Yeah.
And that's our job. We get you to the top of that mountain. We teach you that skill, and then from here on out, with DLCs, additional content, master levels, it is about giving you new racetracks. You know,
Right.
you have mastered this experience, and we want to give you new ways to test yourself, because you don't want to. You know, I play through the game. I have to be honest. I played through this game like too many times, like a bajillion times, and I've been playing
it's
it
a real
for
number.
years.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah.
You know.
Years.
Yeah. Seriously, I have played intro going on 3 years now, probably. I mean, forget it. But I still don't get sick of it, you know, because it's like the guitar. I mean, I love picking this up and getting to use it again. I was playing the master level the other day, just in the wild.
Yeah.
Checking out some of the references that the community was telling me about, some
Mhm.
issues they were having, and it was just found myself playing just for the fun of playing.
Yeah.
You know, once again, which is a great feeling.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's go to the 2-shot, because I always get self-conscious. I can't see myself. I don't even know if I have
in
stuff.
this 2-shot. There's 2 of us now.
Okay.
There we
All
are.
right. Is it the Discord? I go to the Discord, right?
Yeah. You can see
Okay.
us in Discord, yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
That's where I'm gonna go.
Shout out to Discord, everybody out there. Great program, great people.
Yes.
Papa
I don't
John,
know if
sorry,
I'm allowed to say that. Yeah. Sorry. Can I?
You're good. You're good. We can shout all this stuff out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's fun. I look forward to going through more of that stuff, you guys. So, what other questions do you guys have? I'll answer.
Oh, there's all kinds. All right. So here we go. Let's go to. Ooh, okay. That one's too spoiler. Hold on. I'm going to skip over that. There's so many good ones. I got a bunch
Let's
of polls.
spoil something.
All right. All right.
We don't have. I'll, at least ask me. I'll see if I can.
All right.
Answer.
Try to dance. Try to dance around this one. This is from Portal Master on YouTube. He says, "Hey Hugo, just wondering, what will we be expecting for the Ancient Gods Part 2?" Now try not to spoil anything and answer that. Good luck. Have fun. Hugo Martin.
Well, I mean, it's pretty. This is not spoiler. If you
Okay.
played DLC 1, you will face the Dark Lord. That's for sure.
Okay.
It will be the best boss fight we've ever made, for sure.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, we've been hammering on this thing for a while, and you're going to see. We will take you. We will uncover parts of hell that you've never seen before, and it'll blow you away. You'll. It's not what you think. Like we want to take you to incredible places. These are the backdrops to the action movie that you are the choreographer for, right?
Yeah.
But those backdrops are critical, and so where we take you into hell this time is just relates to the Dark Lord. Is
That's
going to be
good.
really interesting.
That's pretty good. That's I'm excited. I think everybody, yep, they're popping off. And there's just juicers everywhere in chat. Okay, here's another one. This is from our boy Schlippy. Shout out to the Friday Night Fights vets out there. He had 2 questions. He's going to say real question this time, so I'm going to ask his first question first, because this is the softball. Okay, you ready for the softball?
Yes.
What kind of steak and how would he have it? Doomslayer, go.
Oh, like a Angus beef, rare, just giant porterhouse, probably. Whatever is the biggest, most
Cut.
unhealthy steak. Yes, and it would
Okay.
be very, very bloody as hell, as Quentin Tarantino would say.
Love it.
And for sure, he is not a vegan. He's a meat eater.
You heard it here first. The guy who tears up meat all day eats it as
Yeah.
well. What are you going to say?
It's interesting because I'm going partially vegan, but
Oh.
the heroes in our game are not. But
Nice. But in your own heroic life, you're splitting
Yes.
the difference. Okay, that's fair. Here's the real question from Schlippy, and that was a great answer for a great question also. How long did it take to come up with the lore and story for Eternal, and where did your ideas come from aside the original?
I tell young. I used to teach for many years, and I still get a chance to go lecture once in a while, and I really enjoy it. And I always tell people like,
Sensei Martin, Sensei Hugo. Go on.
you know, your brain is like an empty palette, you know, and all of the different thing painter's palette and all of the different things that you're into, whether it's Gundams or a comic book series that you really like, or an anime series that you're really into, or just model making, whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
video games, a particular video game. Each of these is like a little you know, pile of paint there on your palette, and those are the when it comes time for you to create your own content,
Mhm.
that's what you draw from, you know. So my best advice to young creatives is to just fill that palette with as much colors as possible. Go build a Gundam, go fucking drive a race car, travel, do something, anything, and in particular become obsessed with things, you know. Like, it's fun, it's you know, casually, depending on how into the thing you are, is how rich that color will be on your painter's palette, you know. Like, and so I like to dive into things and kind of obsess about them. And so Doom is my palettes. I'm an old person at 44. I got all kinds of things on my palette that I pull from. A lot of them are really old, you know, really old. At this point, they're not that old to me, but they
I was
seem
going to
old.
say, I was like, you're
Yeah,
only
the
44 years
80s.
old. They can't be that old. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I'm watching the Wonder Woman 1984 thing, and I'm like, I was in elementary school when that was happening. That's
Yeah.
not. I remember what malls were. So the
That's fair.
it's a collection. Honestly, just subconsciously, you're not even conscious the fact that you're pulling from these influences
Right.
of all the things that I love. I mean, Star Wars and Gundams and mechs, and honestly, I love design. I'm very much from kitchen. I like kitchenware design. It's the most ridiculous thing, but I really am into it. Like, I could nerd out. I have a thing for coffee cups and silverware. I have the silverware my wife and I have it's ridiculous looking. But the people come to my house, they're like, "Are you serious? With this? I'm going to eat with this."
They'll
Like,
give me to
yes,
hold this and then use
Yeah.
this. Okay.
but don't use it too much, because I
It's
you know,
precious,
like,
okay?
it's
Be careful.
precious.
Be careful with the hardware.
But so yeah, it is a collection of all the different my peers and the things that I love throughout the years, and then of course a healthy dose of the original. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Much of what I'm saying is in the original Doom.
Yeah.
The original rocket launcher was a gun that had rules.
Yeah.
It was super strong. It moved really slow. There was
Yeah.
not a lot of ammo, and it would get you fucking killed.
Yeah.
That
it
would happen.
It was very dangerous to use in close proximity,
it.
as we all learned.
So,
Yeah.
and as we know, that's basically what our and those rules, those were the bumpers.
Yeah.
If I went outside of that, I'd kill myself. I was frustrated,
Right.
and then I learned, and then they funneled me into an experience that was enjoyable.
Yeah.
So we do the same thing, you know.
No, I love that.
so-
That is a super sensei answer too, because like I feel like a lot of us, you know, you're like, oh, I spent too much time in this, or I need to get back to this. But I love the point that you make about like all of these things that you're downloading in your brain, that you're downloading in your heart, that you're absorbing through being a fan of anything. Doesn't matter what it is, of experiencing things, of life. It is all what makes your stuff more unique. Even though people are like, oh, I'm watching too much of this crap. Or like, you know, I listened too much of this one artist and now I write a song and it sounds exactly like them. It's like, that's okay. That's a part of it, right?
I have a chip on my shoulder about that too, because like
yeah?
all of us, right? I was told constantly that I got to stop playing video games as a kid, and I was like, I don't want to, you know, like,
Yeah.
and
No.
definitely the little kid in me is still like, well, ha ha ha, I do it for a living now. How
It's my
about that?
job.
You know, like, yeah,
Wait, I get paid,
Yeah.
right? Okay, I get paid for this. What's up?
yeah. My movie references are how I make a living. You
Yeah.
know, like so this is the. Don't tell me that I've watched James Cameron's Aliens too many times as a kid, because and honestly, with my kids, and I have no idea if this is the right way. I
No one
try to
does.
go the opposite, and I just want them to be really into things. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what it is. What's interesting is like what I was really into. For you younger people out there, it's going to be something totally different. And on the surface, all of these are just new mediums of art. That's how I look at it. I mean, it's like video games is the new art medium, just like movies was the new art medium, and a long time ago it was oil painting and frescoes, and then it was sculpture,
Yeah.
and then it was acrylic, and then it was airbrush, and then it was
Yeah.
digital painting, and now it's movies, and like,
And now we're
well,
back to airbrush. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
they're hard to use.
They are.
Video games are the new art form, but even like, TikTok or social media, or just the content and the way that people are making it, dive into that shit.
Yeah.
Because believe me, it's filling up your painter's palette.
Yeah.
That is going to help you. I think the worst thing you could do is not be passionate and into things.
100%.
At that point, what are you doing? You're just staring
Right.
at the wall.
Yeah.
Which it's good. I do a fair amount of that too. But like
That's
the-
like
yeah.
another thing you need to do. You're like, I need to do something. I'm staring at this wall too much. I need to. All right, I'm going to start doing something. Hell, yeah. It's all
I
part
wish
of
I
it.
could. I wish I could show you in my office, but I think I'm as passionate about buying Gundams and not than I am building
Building
them.
them?
'Cause the percentage
so-
of Gundams that I have purchased and built, they're very out of whack.
Your box collection is incredible. Your
'Cause the
built
boxes-
models, yeah, they're sick.
I love the way the boxes look. It's my
Yeah.
favorite thing.
Yeah.
I think that you never really get over that. How just the toy, the fresh toy, like
yeah.
unopened fresh toy.
Oh, yeah.
It looks awesome. So
Sometimes that journey is better than the destination. It's just the way it go. It's just the way it be.
Are you the kind of person? Do you keep it like sealed in like things in general? Do you keep them sealed? Or
It
do you open
depends.
them?
So like I have a split. So like I'm a sneakerhead also. So like I am not the person. Okay, well I'm about to say I'm not the person. I'm about to tell you how I am that person. So I'll tell you what kind of person I am. I'm the person that does both in the silliest possible ridiculous way. So I'll buy 2 pairs of something I really want, and I'll keep that one in the box, but I will wear the other one, and I'll wear it anywhere at any time. I'm not precious about the one that I do wear. So I'm like functional in that way, but then I have that like hoarders, like collector's mentality where I'll be like, but I do have that one that's fine. So it's okay that it's raining. I'm going to wear these J's. I'm going to do whatever. You know what I mean?
Because
YOLO.
the first scuff mark, and I'm not a big sneaker guy, but I can
Yeah.
totally relate. The first scuff mark is tough. So just knowing that you've got a fresh version of it,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good.
It's that
I
same thing. Like, it's like you want to be able to use the stuff that you have because that's why you got it in the first place to a certain degree. But then again, all of us are consumers. We're all capitalists, and we know that it's like also that dangling carrot is important because it's also like a life lesson of just like it's nice to have shit to look forward to. That's a part of waking up and being like, I'm gonna get that thing today, whatever it is. Doesn't matter if it's just like that cup of coffee or that new game that just came out, the hotness, the console, whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's like it's just important to keep those dangly boys because it makes life a little easier, makes life a little funner.
There's too many new hotnesses right now that I can't seem to get, man. I can't
There's a
get
lot.
my hands on any of these consoles. I need them.
It's tough. I know a lot of us out there are feeling that, but we just got to be patient, get through this. I know it's tough to get everything out right now, but it's trickling out. It is. But
Yes.
speaking of which, this is trickling out to be the most fun we've both had in probably a long time, and we are so glad that all of you out there have joined us. This is just the first of what will be 12, so there's 11 more of these boys coming in the future for all of us to hang out here together, get to pick the brain of this genius right here. I can't believe I pointed the right way. I'm so proud of myself. To just walk us through more design stories about everything that made Eternal what it is, and just give us a little bit more senpai advice in general about just, everyday things. Maybe we'll get into some food. Maybe we'll get into some drinks. Maybe we'll do it all. Who knows? Stay tuned.
I think I need to get into less food. That's,
That's okay. You know what? That's again, it's a part of it. You know what I mean? Dieting is another thing you can look forward to if that's a thing you want to look forward to. Doesn't matter. It's all there to have fun with. So again, thank all of you guys so much for being here. We will be back soon. I'm going to say soon with an H because there's a whole schedule that after I'm done talking, I'm going to put up, and you're going to see exactly what it is. And you can just set your schedule, your abacus, your phone, your reminder, I was going to say the A word out loud for the Amazon device, but then it would start talking to me, so I'm not going to do it. There's a lot of options, and we want to see all of you again. We love all you guys. Thank you guys so much for spending your time with us tonight. And we are going to leave you with a little trailer that you've seen already. That's not a spoiler. It's the Switch trailer. It comes out on 12/8. Be ready for that. That's next week. That's Tuesday. Get your devices ready. You can play it anywhere. I know that most of you are home, but you can be on a different couch than your TV is on because it's portable. Okay? We're living in the future, guys. We love you guys. Thank you for being here. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
Later, guys.
See you guys later.
Against all the evil that hell can conjure, we will send unto them only you. I offer you a gift. Take it. It will give you strength. They will fear you.